Is it on? Hey,
Hey,
it's so nice to see you.
so nice to see you. I'm
I
honored
miss you.
to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll do a little introduction about myself for everyone who doesn't know me, who's on your page.
Of course.
So my name is Julia, and my username is Ahiru Luna, which Ahiru does is actually Japanese for duck because I'm very passionate about ducks, as you can see. Um, so I actually did rescue a duck for everyone who know it was on my page does know Chi. Um, and he's turning 8 this year. I've had him for a while now. Um, and he is a Muscovy duck, which a lot of you guys know that Muscovies in the state of Florida are actually known as a nuisance, which I didn't know when I first got him, and obviously you know all about that, and we'll get into that.
Sure.
Um, yeah, you're the expert. So,
Thank you.
but I didn't know that until he got really sick, which I think I told you about his story. Um,
Yeah.
and I had to take him to a vet, but um, some we actually did have to bring some of his friends over too, who are wild ducks, and we had to get people to help capture them. And I didn't know that the vet was actually planning on euthanizing them because in the state of Florida, they don't want to keep them, unfortunately. And they ended up leaving Chi even sicker, which was really hard for me. And I had to constantly call them, like, make sure that he doesn't, that you, like, I want to make sure you don't euthanize him, that he's going to be okay. And she
Yeah.
was,
Especially for the vet,
yeah,
right?
yeah, the vet was actually really mad. I don't know if I told you about that. She was really pissed off about it. That
I can
I that I called and I didn't want him to be euthanized. She was really upset.
That's
And
different.
yeah, and animal control that picked up all the other ducks too. She told me I was being inhumane by letting the ducks go. She did euthanize one of his friends. Quite unfortunately, I was so upset. Um, but they did release back a few of his friends back to his pond, and they told me I was being inhumane for letting them stay alive.
Yeah.
Which the only thing is, um, and I should probably explain what happened. So I did notice that five ducks and Chi were all limping on one foot. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? And they didn't allow me to test the waters, the pond water, to see if maybe it was that. And that's why I had to call, an expert. Um, and I ended up having to self-medicate them myself. It was just a vitamin deficiency. And they were all healed. They were all fine
Did you
after me.
have your ducks over a vitamin deficiency?
Yes,
That's
I was giving them, I don't know if you know, like, I was giving them niacin.
nice, and
I
yeah.
believe that. And
And the
she,
rest recovered?
what happened?
The rest of them did recover?
Yes, they did.
Oh,
Isn't that crazy?
that is out of this world.
And she acts like it's never even happened. So it was insane
All
to
the
me.
time here at Duck Issues.
So if you want to introduce yourself.
Oh, okay, for sure. Everybody that know me, my name is Brandon Ahern. I am the president of Duck Issues Inc. And I am joined by my friend Julia, who's the one that's going to be asking me all of your very good questions that you guys have been sending in.
Oh yeah, we got a lot of good
A
ones.
lot of good ones.
So I've known you now for a while. So we met on Facebook,
We did.
which is crazy.
I'd say
Um,
for 5 years now.
yeah, we met on, I believe it was like a private duck group on Facebook.
Yeah.
And, since I'm really passionate about this, it was really interesting to see someone who actually owns a duck rescue, which is amazing because where I'm at, I don't know anyone who has a duck rescue in this area. I'm in Central Florida. I know you're more in South Florida.
Yeah.
Um, because people just, like I said, just want to euthanize them, which is really scary.
Yeah.
So when I met you, I was just absolutely amazed, and I love what you do, and it's just incredible.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
Um,
them being euthanized when they could either go to private homes or I have a very lucrative
yes.
adoption process that people do. I adopt
Yeah.
out of birds, not just ducks, but there's
Right.
there's something that could be done other than death.
Right. And hi, everyone that's joining.
Yeah,
We
thank
got
you
quite
so
a few people on here. Nice to see everyone. Yeah, thank you so much for the support. Um, but yeah, so if you can tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do. I know how long you started young, right? When you started
I
doing this?
I started, well, I grew up in Broward County, so I've always been around ducks. I used to take care of them when I was younger, so it kind of fed into me wanting to get more into rehab as I got
Uh-huh.
older. I kind of just broke off from certain other rescues. The Florida Keys Wild Bird Hospital actually did teach me a lot of things.
Oh,
There's a lot
wow.
of other sanctuaries and rehabbers that do help me out with a lot of certain things. I could go on and on. I could go
I
forth.
love that. I love that. So you learned a lot from other rescues.
For sure, and I do have a lot of them that support me very highly. I have a really good support network.
And that's so great. I actually did want to bring up really quick. It's because I was reading some different like articles online with people talking about how there is only one duck rescue in South Florida, and they never brought up your name. They brought up one name. I don't want to say the name, but there are people that think there's only one specific duck rescue that takes care of these animals, and they are currently not taking in ducks. So it's a little frightening to people. They don't know where to bring in these injured ducks. So I think it's so important that people realize that there are other duck rescues in Florida,
Most,
especially for Muscovies.
and even I don't know of too many going north of where you are, but I do know that
Mhm.
there is Royal, which is I believe Central Florida. Don't be
Oh,
mad if
is it?
that wrong, but they do
I was
really.
thinking that might be South. I'm not sure. We should go over it because I actually, because I do have them on my Instagram too. So if anything, I'll just write a list of duck rescues for everyone. I'll keep it in my highlights
For sure,
just so
and we
everyone knows.
start. We're all a community. We're all linked together. We all back and forth.
And I love that. I love that you guys actually work together, and that's so important within a community.
Most definitely. I mean, it takes community to make a difference in anything, to help or change the life of anything. You need community. I think the biggest part of my community, aside from other rehabbers and rescues, would definitely be my supporters. There's nothing they wouldn't do for me. They go out of their way to make sure that I'm good. They send me
That's
the
amazing. I
and
love
it
that.
means so much to me. I never expected to have, even because we will continue to grow. I don't really have any type of end result for duck issues. I just
Uh-huh.
want to continue to grow as we progress forward and obtain land and go forward from there. But I just didn't even expect to be where I'm at this point, and it's just going so much further. And I can't thank my supporters enough for that.
Oh, that's incredible. And I love hearing all your stories and everything too. And I can't imagine like what it's like to even, take care of all the animals that you do. I'm sure you get in tons all the time. Um, and just taking care of my ducks when I rescued them, I only had two. Like I
Yeah,
can't imagine constantly bringing in more every single day. And you constantly get phone calls and constant messages on social media and everywhere. You're just like bombarded with messages. So if anything, like, can you maybe walk us through a little bit about your daily routine?
of course. Do you want me to go like towards like geared towards calls or intakes or anything specific?
Everything, yeah, a little bit of everything if you'd like to talk about it.
I mean, I do. All right, I guess I'll start with just like the morning day to day.
Okay.
So, it's depending on, because I do get new patients daily, it's kind of like a day to day thing. We do take in other animals besides ducks, but when I wake up in the morning, obviously everybody needs to be, they need, oh my God, sorry. They need clean water, they need fresh food, they need to, be
Hmm.
in a clean environment, they need to make sure everyone is medicated. I have,
Right.
cards the enclosure that basically every regiment is attended to before I leave my home for work. And I also do bring certain animals to my job with me. And
Wow.
people do
I didn't
bring
know that.
while I'm at work as well.
Wow, that's insane. It's like it's just a constant thing for you. And that's actually what I was going to talk about too. That people think that this is the only thing you do is just the duck rescue, but you do work
No.
a regular job.
And a lot of people think that this is my job, which it is not.
How do you even find time for yourself? It's like that's insane to me.
There's not much. The time that I allot for myself would be my wins, which I would call successful rehab attempts.
Right. That's just absolutely insane. Um, Let me think. Yeah, there's just a lot. It's a constant thing for you,
It is.
24/7.
We get calls on a day-to-day basis. Some of them, of course, I'm one person and I do have very limited staff, so there is some people we have to turn away or send to other places, but for the most part, we are pretty on the ball.
And that's a good thing about you also working with other duck rescues and you
Sure.
guys being like a really good community, which I think is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of negative sides that people that are not in the rescue community will see. Sometimes we'll back and forth in unkind ways, but other than that, we're all, for the most part, we're all family. If anybody needs anything that I can do or vice versa, that's just how it works for us.
Mm-hmm. So really quick, we do have a question. Are ducks the only animals he cares for? Which you did talk briefly about. If you want to kind of talk about some other animals that
Okay.
you do take in.
Um, Aside from ducks and exotics, we do take I'm gonna say exotics, but limit it to birds and certain reptiles. But we do invasive
Hmm.
birds for the most part in South Florida. My biggest patients that I deal with, aside from Muscovies and Egyptians, would be pigeons, doves, starlings, house sparrows, anything
Oh,
that you can imagine that you'd see in the same frequency as Muscovies that breed
yeah, and I've seen a lot of pigeons on your page. They're beautiful.
for sure. And a lot of them are domestic. There's a lot of people don't understand too why like domestics can't be released, why they can't be returned, and that I'm not going to get too into because we'll be on that all night. But it's kind
Right,
of just one of those things where it's a blood sport thing and that's all they're used for. So if you kind of like read the tags that I put on the pictures with the pigeons, it kind of like levels it out in a little bit, but I don't like to give you guys like too much gore all at once. I try to like
right,
spread it out a little bit.
right. And I'm sure a lot of people can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Someone did ask how old do most ducks live?
It really depends. It kind of fluctuates. I'd say within city limits where I am in Broward County, I'd say anywhere between 5 to 10 years. In more rural areas, maybe
Okay.
it's give or take, but I do know some very old Muscovies in captivity all the way up into late 20s, early 30s.
I've heard about that actually, and I think that's really amazing. Um, so what is the best thing about what you do?
The best thing, um, I would have to say the best part that continues to always drive me forward to wake up every single day and just know that this is the rest of my life is
Mhm.
for me to take something, and especially because they're Muscovies, like you said, there's not really many people that will go out of their way for invasive birds because they are unreleasable. But for me,
Yes.
taking something that is considered unwanted and downtrodden and taking it from the point of near death and bringing it back is just
Mhm.
always a huge win for me. And that is just what keeps me going.
And that's why I was so interested in talking to you because I've not in my area, I've never met anyone who actually takes in Muscovies, who saves them or anything. So, like, I was just so happy to meet you. And when I first heard about that, it was just incredible. Someone did ask a question really quick. Let me scroll
I
up.
so many so many questions coming up. I'm trying to keep up. Of
I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna try really hard. And thank you, Brandon. Uh,
course.
how
Thank you.
different is the care for Egyptian ducks from Muscovies? Oh, and they said they have a 21-year-old Muscovy, which is incredible.
um, the care isn't too far off. It really depends if it was labeled to like rehab work or just husbandry in general. But the care is pretty close. I mean, most of your waterfowl, they need predator proof enclosures, they need a specific diet. It's one of those things where it's just like you take a certain animal, it's like us, if we eat one thing all the time, we're never gonna flourish, we're never gonna be okay. So the
Right.
big thing with waterfowl is kind of just making sure you have the base diet and then just adding so much other stuff.
Also, someone thanked you for saving a chicken today.
Oh, yes, yes. She's on a
Uh,
moment.
let me see what else. Do you need to have water like a pond for a duck sanctuary?
You don't, but ideally I would want to. So when I do obtain land, my whole thing would be if, because I kind of want it to be how I want it to be. So I would probably have, I wouldn't want a property with water on it already. I'd want it dug because I want it to be,
Right.
I want everything that's in that water feature.
Right.
Yeah,
Um, and again, so you said you do all of this on your own,
I do.
and especially that you have a full-time job and everything.
For
Oh,
sure.
sorry.
I do a lot of the rehab work on my own, but no, I wouldn't say I do it all on my own because I do have a really good staff that helps me out. You know, my secretary, my rehab manager, of course, my supporters.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things too is it's with me taking on so many animals at once. It's sometimes hard for me to pick them up. And a lot of people, if they're
Mhm.
referred to me from this one, that wildlife center, this person, whatever, it
Mhm.
really does mean a lot to me that they'll go out of their way to bring them to me directly.
Right, which is amazing.
Yeah,
And we also have to bring up the fact that the people that do help you are all volunteers. So thank you to your
of course.
volunteers as well, which I think is incredible and that
They're amazing.
everyone works together.
Staff
It's yeah, it's amazing. Um, and I know that you also go through some really hard things when you're and you said when you're picking up ducks, sometimes you go through difficult stuff. Actually, really quick, someone did ask a question, which I kind of want to bring that question up and just kind of let it play by. And this was on that they asked on the post. So I do want to say, Tragic Moon, which this is their user. They asked, is it safe to handle wild ducks during COVID?
I mean, there's not really many things you, well, first of all, ducks will not contract or give you COVID. But
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have experience handling wildlife and the bird is not, when I tell people to bring animals to me, it's pretty much because they're down and out. I would never really tell somebody to handle wildlife without having any experience because it can go wrong. Just because they're ducks, that does not mean they can't hurt you.
Right. But also, I would say, because you're kind of risking yourself,
Sure.
you being around other people. And here's the thing,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of rescues taking in animals during this time, which I understand, but
Yeah.
even more so, it's incredible that you do. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've also had like any bad experiences with people. I'm sure it's really hard for you. I'm sorry?
A lot of bad experiences with people catching ducks. A lot of times, given my age, um, and just kind of how I look, people assume that I'm either hurting them or I'm not trustworthy, that I'm going to kill them, which I would want them to go out of their way because, there are people that will come and take them and they're not legally licensed to, etc., stuff like that. But
Uh-huh.
there are instances where people got very violent with me.
Which is really frightening.
Yeah, it's you can only explain so much to somebody before you just call it quits and have to get others involved.
Right. And I'm so sorry you've dealt with a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd honestly, in most of these instances, it's because they are trying to look out for the ducks, so that I will give them.
Right. Okay. Let's see. We did have some other questions. I do really quick want to go through the questions we did have in the post, and then we can go through more in the comments. Um, let's see. So my friend Life is a Ditch asked if a particular creature that's been brought in sick or injured is classified as invasive or non-native. Is it actually legal to release it once it is fit and well?
That is a really good question. In the state of
Yeah,
Florida, would be no. It is
right,
a
exactly.
release or relocate Muscovy ducks anywhere in the state of Florida.
Right. Okay. Would you have other people who help you
I do.
with
I have
that?
several people that work with me that have properties that take on certain animals for me. I just have so much help that when I get something in, the end result is I kind of, for the most part, match the animal from that I'm working on to the person.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, aside from my adoptions, which you go through your whole adoption process, most of the people I've used for years, almost a decade, I'd say. So they're very trustworthy. They take tons of birds for me. It's amazing.
That's incredible.
Which is why we need to obtain land very bad so I can have time to not work on them and push them right along like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Especially, you doing this all on your own is just too much.
Yeah.
So you have really good friends by you.
Of course. I keep a good circle.
Next question was from Fatty and Friends, duck page. How many ducks do you have?
I can't really answer that per se because it changes on like an hour to hour basis.
Right.
I just saw somebody that said they hear baby ducks. Yeah, there's some in front of me.
I hear them too. They're so
Uh,
cute.
yeah, the number doesn't really exist. I mean, there could be days that I have only a couple. There could be days that I have
Mhm.
tons.
Which is insane. Yeah, the fact that it constantly changes for you.
Yeah.
It's always interesting in your house, isn't it? So it's never a boring day.
No, we live for the diversity though, so.
So the next person actually asked a few questions. So I'll read the whole thing out to you, and then we can go one by one. So this one was a Mama Dukas 1. She asked, she said, I would like to ask, how does it work not having land, etc., for the ducks? How many does he have at once? How can people help? And can they donate land?
Um, there's no real answer for how many I have at once unless it's like any
Mhm.
given day that you're asking me like at the end of that day.
Right.
People help me towards obtaining land through our GoFundMe page that I have the link in my bio. Of course, through
Mhm.
other apps like PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. And people, of course, could donate land. We'd love that.
That would be really
Yeah,
great.
for sure.
Actually, I also have your GoFundMe linked in my bio, so people can go
Cool.
to mine as well and donate to you. Okay, let's see. The next one was a few questions as well.
Okay.
And this one was from a Flying Coyote. So they said, would love to hear some animal husbandry info. What does a SCOBY need for food, enclosure, social needs to inform people how best to care for them, and common threats slash hazards that wild populations face in South Florida?
That's got to be my favorite question so far. Okay, so since I do have baby ducks in front of me, I want to start with the baby duck thing. If
You
you find
sure?
duck. First of all, birds, and you'll always see me post like with the Muscovy Mafia stuff, with the duck issue stuff. Ducks
Yeah.
are flocking animals. If you can avoid raising a single one, do not do it. If you raise a single one, the flock mentality kind of just dissipates. A lot of times they're aggressive. If you find a baby duck and you're in South Florida, just pass it along to somebody that can add it to others that they have in their care, because it's just one of those things that when you reach out to me after you've raised the duck by
Mm-hmm.
itself in your home and kind of stripped it of the wild aspects that they go by, they
Mm-hmm.
can't really be integrated with other ducks often. Most of the times they'll attack people, other animals. So that's
Wow.
one of my biggest problems that we deal with when it comes to babies, because everybody wants to keep the baby ducks. I mean, come on, they're baby
Right.
ducks. You want to keep them. We all know it's fun. But,
Uh-huh.
and even like when I tell my adopters, it's if they want to get into like raising babies and certain things like that, we will never, for the most part, just do one unless you already have other ducks. And
Right.
I'd say I'll start with the threats and then get into the husbandry.
Sure.
But I'd say aside wild populations in Broward County. I'm not talking about. Well, I'm gonna say Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach. I would definitely say is obviously number one. People. Most of the animals that we get have been abused by people, hit by cars, certain things like that. I mean, we see some pretty nasty stuff. But one of the
Oh
biggest,
yeah.
aside, like naturally occurring, of course, would be botulism is a big thing that we deal with. They are prone, I mean, they're prey animals, so they do have a long list of predators. And anyone that lives in South
Yeah.
Florida lives on a lake, that loves to see the baby ducks with their mom and just see how it goes. You guys know it better than I do and anyone else. One day
Hmm.
she'll have 10, then she'll have two, then she'll have none. I mean, it goes all the way from foxes, raccoons, birds of prey, fish, turtles. It just kind of doesn't, it just, whatever they can be attacked by, they will be. And we've seen it.
So, yeah. Yeah, it's really sad. And you can see a lot of stuff on the news about it. Muscovies are always, you know,
They, the thing about, I like there was one news article that I saw many years ago that I believe it was I actually believe it was Duck Haven oriented, but it was like something like feed them or fight them. It's one of those things that in South Florida, you either love them or you don't love them.
hmm
So it's just one of those things. But I kind of try to explain to people, like, even if you don't like them, we don't release ducks back into the ecosystem. We make sure they do end up in good homes. Because that's kind of the whole premise of duck issues is we do believe in protecting native species, native environments, ecosystems. So by removing them after the fact, if they come in injured, if they come in disabled, sick, etc., they end up in good homes and not back into the environment.
That's really awesome, Brandon. Um, let's see. I know a lot of people also ask about what they eat.
What they eat? Okay, this is the fun part. Um, for when I have them in my care, I like to have a staple diet, whether it be it really depends on the size, but I'll use like flock raiser, I'll use Missouri pellets. I think I pronounced that wrong. There's a lot of certain duck foods I like. I kind of just have to go through the ingredients, but the thing with ducks is just adding extra proteins. They are hunters. They
hmm
will find their own prey, and in South Florida, the most things they would eat is lizards, snakes, small birds, rats.
Wow,
And
really? I didn't know that.
they do display cannibalistic situations.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's one thing I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's insane. I know it's crazy because a lot of people argue the fact online for whatever reason people are so angry to hear it that ducks cannot eat bread. Isn't that insane? Like people argue about it constantly. I always tell people do not feed them bread. That's the
It's
main reason why my duck got sick and his
yeah.
friends got sick, you
And
know?
calcium deficiencies and stuff like yours suffered with. What I see the most is
Uh-huh.
in adult ducks, if they get bread handouts here and there, it tends not to bother them in such a visual way. But when you're feeding bread to like mothers with infants,
Mhm.
juveniles, anything under, I'd say the age of 8 months, most of the time it causes them to form angel wing, which is when the wing kind of dips out to the side and
Mhm.
connects like that, and then that renders them flightless. So you're kind of just putting them at risk to be attacked by the predators that we listed in the other question.
Yeah, there's no nutrition in bread at all, and I don't understand why people constantly fight like, "Oh no, I'm still going to give them bread." And someone actually I remember seeing on a duck page that someone posted an article online saying that ducks were starving because they weren't being given bread. And like you said, they always find something to eat, you know? It's like
On that real quick, because people always disagree with me. If you live in South Florida or Florida in general, the ducks well, they will not starve if you don't feed them. They don't need your help. If
exactly.
anything, by feeding them, you cause a coagulation problem, and especially if you live in like an HOA or you have
Mhm.
neighbors that don't like them, etc., like that, you're just kind of putting the target on their back for kill trappers to come in and remove them.
You're so right. I've actually had people actually message me privately telling me that they had at their apartment complex that the owners were actually planning on getting trappers to kill them.
Oh, we see it every day here.
That's crazy to me, and it's really frightening.
It is, but you can avoid that. You can avoid that situation by just letting. They are considered invasives, but they are wild animals. If you're born in the wild and you don't require assistance from humans, you're a wild animal. So it's best to just leave them alone.
Right, and I agree with that completely. Just leave them be. Um, let's see what else. Another person, Edgy Alex01, did ask how many you've rescued so far, which I know is like impossible for you to answer.
I honestly couldn't tell you. I almost want to say like a huge number, but I don't want to sound like a liar. I really the
Oh, I
only
wish we knew.
record of are the ones that are going to adopting homes. Those
Uh-huh.
are kept on file. But other,
Okay.
I honestly couldn't tell you. It's a week to week basis.
Right. Yeah, I can't imagine. We did also have a question. This person's name is Playa Joe 369. How do I support the Ducks? Which I know you did touch base that there are multiple ways to help. If you want to list one more time your
I mean,
GoFundMe and all that.
to help us directly in our endeavors to help the Ducks, you could always, just like I said, the GoFundMe link, or I also have Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo, which would just be Duck Issues. And
Mm-hmm.
any donation that we get is pretty much right now geared towards obtaining land, but everything that you guys send me goes right back into the birds.
Right, and I do have your GoFundMe linked again in my bio. Also, I would like to link your other fund pages as well, if that's okay. I'll put it in my highlight. So it's just easier for people to find you and easier to donate. And also, what else? I want to also say when people do find ducks that are injured, do not take them just anywhere when they're a Muscovy
Oh, yeah.
because, yeah, people literally want to kill them.
Because the problem with that is, well, first of all, let me touch base. If you are, and people get me all the time with that, and they're like, what's your certification? Are you a wildlife rehabber? With that,
Uh-huh.
you cannot be a licensed wildlife rehabber. I'm not sure about out of Florida, but in Florida, you cannot be a licensed wildlife rehabber and take in and or treat invasives. It is a crime and it is against the law, which will
Wow.
probably get your license pulled. So I don't
Wow.
certification for this because they don't offer it, and there's
Uh-huh.
not really a guidebook for this because there's not many that do it.
Wow, that's insane. I didn't know that. That's really crazy. But yeah, it's just so important that people are really careful, and especially if they call it animal control, we don't
Definitely.
want anything like
And
that.
it's like my whole thing is too, a lot of these people, they don't, a lot of these places won't really tell you that they can't do it. They'll just kind of take them and euthanize them. So it kind of takes your
Yes.
rehab attempt and your rescue attempt and just kind of throws your middle fingers up. It's
All right.
things are just like, oh yeah, I took it here. And then I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
you're just like, oh my God, that's frightening. And I understand people are trying to help, but it is so
Of
important to do your research first.
most
So like when I had animal control taken some of Chi's wildlife friends to the vet, again, they tried to euthanize them. I had to constantly call them, do not euthanize them, and she was very upset.
yeah.
And she literally didn't want to talk to me. She had her secretary talking to me, and it was so awkward.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want these animals to die, and again, I had to self-medicate them. Not
And
saying that people have to do that,
the
but
reason that she probably got so upset too is, when you call somebody like somebody that rehabs wildlife or animal control or something that like the title is animals, that's their job to go out of their way to help them, you kind of really don't question it. You know what I mean? You're just
yes,
like,
and you're
I,
right.
I made a difference in this, that, or whatever animal's life. And they
Yes,
do
and that's what
all
I
back.
thought.
Yeah.
Honestly, I had no idea when I first started this. And they were a wildlife vet. They do specifically, any kind of wildlife is what I thought.
Yeah.
So it was just a shock to me. And oops,
Are
sorry,
those ducks on your head?
my phone is dying. I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, are those ducks on your head?
Yeah, I made little duck clips.
Oh.
I know I have like duck everything.
Just for the occasion. I love it.
Oh yeah, I love wearing these.
I'm
I have
wearing
different colors too.
gold, so we're
I
not.
love your duck shirt. I need one. That's so cute. um, so anyway, what else did I want to touch base on? And if anyone has any other questions, we'll read off of them right now. But also, I think it is also crazy that we're like the same age and you're doing this. Whenever I would call rescues and I'd meet people that have different rescues, they're always older. So
See, well, because a lot of times because I am busy often, like when somebody calls me and leaves a voicemail or they call me and I'm busy, I'll text them like, hey, I'm at work. Can you please text me? I'm working on a
Uh-huh.
bird. Can you please text me? So they don't really talk to me like face to face really. So like when they meet me in person, they're like, are you Brandon?
Yeah.
And they're like, not what I was expecting.
Yeah. I know that's insane. I know when we first met, I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I love it though. I honestly, there should be more young people that are involved in rehab.
And I think it's great that people see like how young you are, like we're the same age group, and that people can realize that, you can do things at this age and help animals.
Sure, most definitely.
Yeah.
It's having what I could say to anyone around our age that would want to get into rehab,
Hmm.
do your research, find somebody that does really good work. And I don't mean really good work like they look good online. I just mean like
Hmm.
they have, their work just speaks for itself and it just goes on and so forth. And
Yeah.
just be comfortable and take from that because I could be here all night listing sanctuaries that I'd like to thank for teaching me certain things that I know how to do.
That's awesome. I love that.
For sure. And they supported me when I worked there and didn't have duck issues when I was younger, this, that, and whatever. And they support me now too. So it's just one of those things that you just got to find the right people to get involved with.
Yeah. And are they rescues that also take in Muscovies?
Not really. Most of I'd say one of the biggest ones, of course, the Florida Keys Wild Bird Hospital was amazing to me. I learned so much there. I've worked there since I was a child, though, and then when I moved
Oh,
back
wow.
to Howard, I worked there a little bit in high school too. But the founder
Wow.
passed away a while back. She was
Wow.
one of those people, and that's another thing I'd kind of like to touch base on. When you have a good circle, you don't really have to worry because people are like, oh, your end results, like what would you do like after the fact, like,
Hmm.
but that's why I really admire them so much, and I'd love to give them a shout out because they just they kept it going. It's the same name, it's Her Sanctuary, and it's just
Oh.
a lot of the team now is new, and I haven't really met them in person yet. But I
Hmm.
mean, it's just love in and out.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
incredible. That's really beautiful, Brandon.
thank you.
Um, yeah, and your work just speaks for itself too. Like you said that about other people, but it really it's the same for you. And every time I see your stuff online, I'm just so inspired by what you do.
Oh, that means so much to me.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with how many animals you take in and you even work a full-time job. You're constantly busy and you
I do.
still find time, you know?
And that I could just for that, and just because I just saw the comment pop up, keep them flying is the rehab that I was just talking about. So definitely check them out. Amazing work. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah, but I would honestly just say without the people that are involved in my team, just like I said, my secretary,
Mhm.
my rehab manager, my private investigator, of course. Oh my God.
Oh my
There's
gosh.
just so many good people on duck issues, like inside and out.
Hmm.
And of
And
course, supporters.
and I love seeing, and my favorite thing is to see positive stuff online. So your page really does a lot for my mood too. I mean,
Thanks.
you see a lot of crazy stuff online, so it's like seeing your page pop up is always like, okay, my faith in humanity has been like regained.
That's why I don't post too much of the gory stuff because I figured,
Yeah.
I'll give you guys a touch like here and there, but I'd rather just take that on being myself and because I'm the one doing the medical work inevitably regardless. So I feel like that's
Mhm.
kind of my business, but I also want you guys to see how bad it is, but not I don't know how to explain it. Like I want you to know how bad it is, but I don't
Yeah.
want you to feel like, oh, we see his page.
Yeah.
It's just blood and terrible stuff.
Yeah. I know, and I feel like it is important to see exactly what it is that you go through. It must be traumatizing for you, and I can't imagine. And especially like people don't understand just how insane. Besides the fact that you're constantly taking care of all these animals, you see a lot of traumatizing stuff.
For sure. For me, it's just I can go out on a limb and say that we do rescue and rehab more animals that inevitably are deemed unfit to have a happy life or, pass away en route to us, etc., stuff like that. But for
Wow.
my whole thing is the wins just overpower the negative stuff. And even, let's just put it this way, if something can't be saved and has been, because I get it all the time, this duck has been dying in my yard for 3 days, this, that, and whatever. Even if it's
Wow.
something that inevitably can't be helped, which of course the go-to is always, we're going to save you. But at
Hmm.
least in the light that I could just be the one to care enough,
Hmm.
that does it for me a lot.
That's incredible. Absolutely amazing. And the fact that you've been doing it for so long. And when I take in animals, I get super emotional about it. So I have to say, like, you're just a really strong person. You're
I
so
was
strong.
okay, because there's a lot of people that are like that. Oh, how do you see so much bad stuff and still have faith in humanity? How do you keep going and certain things like that? For me, it's just you're gonna sink or swim. You're gonna push or you're not gonna push. And I've
Hmm.
just always been a fighter. If I'm not gonna make it, I'm gonna figure it out. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, for us, it's just the emotions are, you can't have emotions during the initial rehab attempts. I
Hmm.
just try to leave all my emotions out of it. But I'm not perfect. It doesn't really hit me on a day-to-day basis there, but there will be some times that, there is a lot of losses at once and it just kind of hits me all at once. But I mean, I am just a person, so I'm not God and I'm not here to play God or any
Right.
of.
Oh, but you're just so helpful to this, duck community. And especially, like, I didn't think that there was anyone who cared. And I used to just cry about it, seeing, especially when she was sick, it took a really bad toll on me. I was sobbing like a baby, and I had to figure it out on my own. Um, but after meeting you, it's just incredible.
Thank you so much. And I
Oh,
mean, that's another thing too, is just because I see it in you, just like I see it in other people on my team, like my secretary is starting to do rehab work and I'm teaching her. I mean, it's just one of those things that you just get past it and you have to. You don't have a choice.
right. You're right. Yeah. But good for you. Like, seriously, you're so strong. And I want to be more like you. Like, that's
I
amazing.
mean, the supporters play a huge part in it. You know what I mean? And when I say supporters, I don't mean like, oh, people that give me money. It's like, your kind words. I see all your comments. I try to respond to everything as fast and as best as I can, but it's just that's where the whole Muscovy Mafia thing came from because it's just like it's in and out. When you're here, you're here. You're with us. That's it.
Right. And I love that. And you
Yeah.
have a really great community, and everyone's so positive. So it's really great to be a part of.
Thank you.
So,
I'm glad you're a part of it. Thank you so much too for this. I'm honored to be part of this.
yeah, no, thank you. And honestly, especially because I love to talk about you on my page, and I wanted people to actually see you and know who you are and understand why I constantly talk about you and your work
A
and
lot of
everything.
my Instagram following doesn't, I don't think they've ever seen me until now, a lot of them. So nice to meet
Face reveal.
you. I'm not an old man. I'm 26.
Yeah, only 26 doing all of this work. But you've been doing it since you were a kid, which you don't really hear too much about.
Yeah.
So that's honestly amazing. I love those little sounds in the background.
Yeah, they're in front of me.
So cute. Can we maybe see some?
uh, I could probably only hold one at once because I'm
That's
kind of
okay.
proud you guys can like see my face, but hold on.
Right.
This is, since obviously he's distinguishable, on my last
Oh.
post that you guys, okay. On my last Instagram post that you guys were very involved in with the eggs, this is the yellow guy out of the
Oh,
one out of that group. He's
that's right. Oh, how beautiful.
okay, hold on. It's hard to
Okay,
do this.
excited.
Hold on.
He's excited.
Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Oh, I love him. Oh my God. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, he's upset. I have to put him back with the babies. And this,
That's okay.
let this be a prime example of why ducks are flock animals and you should not raise them as single babies.
Right. Yeah. And
Okay.
that's great advice too. Oh
Okay.
my God.
No, I got
He's
him.
so beautiful. I get so excited. I want another baby so bad. Oh my God. As soon as I move, I need more babies.
for sure. We always have.
And
I
I
think
so wish we lived
we're
closer.
eating a lot right now. I couldn't tell you an exact number. I haven't taken account recently.
I'm sorry, what was it? You were breaking up.
Oh God. Oh yeah. I don't know how many babies we're raising right now, but with spring just
Uh-huh.
starting, because they do breed year round, but spring and summer is like the worst for us with babies. Like I couldn't tell you how many we have.
Oh,
At least I'd say at least a couple hundred.
wow.
Yeah,
And I can't imagine how much food you go through.
a lot of food.
And that's why donations are also so important
Oh,
because,
for sure.
you have so many mouths to feed.
Aside from donations, it's just all out of pocket.
Uh-huh. And they eat a lot. It's constant. Oh my God, I know. And out of pocket, you just do so much. It's incredible. But also, even adults, they eat so much.
They
And,
do.
I have just Chi. I don't even live with him. He's a wild duck for people that didn't know. But I do always visit him and bring him food. And he eats a lot. Imagine doing that day to day with all
Yeah,
those babies. That's why donations are so important,
for sure.
which is crazy. And for people that don't know, a bag of food can cost like $5. Every dollar counts. Even just $5, you're buying a bag of food, or you can be donating towards the medicine that he uses to help these ducks so that they don't have to suffer anymore.
Meds would definitely be our biggest cost.
Yeah. And I'm sure it could get really, really pricey.
Oh, yes, meds are not cheap.
Yeah. So again, like every dollar counts. Even if you can't donate a lot, it still counts. And you're a part of helping cure these ducks and putting food in their mouths.
And another thing I'd like to say, because a lot of people are like, oh, where can I buy food? Because I'd like to buy it for you and,
Hmm.
give it to you and this and that. The one thing I would like to say
Hmm.
is if you are going to a feed store to buy us food, and I know this sounds like, oh, why would he say that? Because he needs the food. Try not to go to places that sell baby ducks and baby chickens. It's just inevitably supporting a problem, which is where you see all the dumped pecans that we get and certain things like that.
Oh,
It's
oh,
just
that's so
rather you
sad.
guys more money to inevitably put animals in the same boat to end up on our Instagram or our Facebook pages.
Is there a specific place that people could buy food? I have seen it on Amazon, but they do cost a lot more than at a feed store. So is there a specific place that they could purchase food?
Aside from Amazon, I mean, there's always Chewy. There's a ton of different places to
Oh,
buy it online and send
oh,
it direct, as opposed to buying it from a feed store that sells baby ducks and chickens.
right. Okay. That's really awesome. Let's see. What else did I not touch base on? That's really interesting though, but again, like everything helps and you guys have all been so helpful and if you can give him a follow, that would be really great because every follow
Follow.
counts. It's supporting. Yeah, and remember to like his posts and comment because that's really helpful so that Instagram will see the interaction and want to put his posts more out there so that we could get more potential followers and people who are donating to him. And he does want to also get donations to obtain land so that he could get in even more animals because there are so many in the state of Florida that need help. So
Yeah,
many.
and we unfortunately do have to turn down a great deal of them from time to time. And my whole thing is just with more resources, obviously the land, more cages set up,
Uh-huh.
and for you guys to come and actually walk through, get to know me, see what we have going on, get to know more about us, be more involved. It
Hmm.
There's just no end result for us. Even if we have to start on a smaller scale, we're gonna continuously grow.
Right. And it's just so important because otherwise these animals, and a lot of them get abused, sadly. We see a lot of stories of abuse and really scary, traumatizing stuff. And people like Brandon take them in, take care of them, heal them. Otherwise, other places, again, will euthanize them. So we just want to make that clear. Oh, my cat's in the background. We just want to make it clear that, people like Brandon are so important in our community because, again, seriously, and I think about it and I get so emotional about it because Chi is a Muscovy duck, which is known as an invasive species. Um, and if there weren't places like Brandon, his kind will die, unfortunately.
Yeah. And
Someone
we do.
asked you. Oh, I'm sorry.
What was it? No, you're good.
Sorry. Someone did ask, do you need volunteers?
Volunteers, I don't need at the moment. I do need fosters, but I won't really be looking for volunteers until I do have a place that I can have you guys come and kind of explain to you how it is, what we do, and certain things like that. Because I do this out of my home, and
Right.
I'd rather just wait until we're situated.
Yeah, so people know it is out of your home and it's
Yeah.
insane.
Then of course I'll be looking for volunteers to come clean, feed, certain things like that, help me out with
Mhm.
whatever needs to be done, of course.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about all that. You deserve it all, Brandon. Everything that you do, I just want to thank you personally again. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you for doing this too.
Yeah, and oh, I wanted to so bad. And I love talking about this kind of stuff, and you're just so informative and everything too. And what you do is just so interesting to me. I'm really passionate about this subject, and you're really inspiring again. I wish I could do what you do.
Well, you will one day when we get land, we'll have you as a volunteer as well.
Oh, please, I want to live right by you.
And out.
And of course, you do know so much about, healing these animals. I know you also offered if if Chi did get sick, you said that you would even take him in. And I was like,
Of
gonna
course.
start crying.
Over anything and this and that, I would always do that for you. I
Thank
mean,
you
if
so much.
I have the resources, I'd do that for anyone.
You're seriously, yeah, that's incredible. Everything you do.
Thank you so
So
much.
thank you. So thank you for being here,
Of
actually.
course, thank you. I love the ducks behind you. I just can't take my eyes off the ducks behind you.
I know I have so many duck things in my room and everything too.
That's dedication.
I'm that crazy duck lady. And to the person that said you're going to donate soon, thank you so much. Again, if you feel like you can't donate a lot and if your donation won't matter because it's little, that's not true. Every donation counts.
Everything
Yeah.
helps.
And like I said, there are places that do have cheap food. Like I said, a bag just costs like $5. Of course, we have to do make sure about where you're getting it to.
For sure.
But again, you guys are helping these animals, live a longer, more fulfilled life, and they'll be happier. And of course, getting food in their mouths and stuff is so important.
Most definitely.
Someone asked, could those kind of ducks live in Illinois?
For a geological type perspective, Muscovies can live anywhere.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
what I was thinking.
Kind of funny to us because we have so many supporters that are out of state and like up north dealing with the cold right now, and it's so funny to us to see your ducks in the snow. It's just fun for us, It's I think it was like 89 here today or something like that, so it's just fun
Yeah,
to see your ducks. And I loved when you guys. My favorite thing is to see like when everybody's like letting their ducks out in the morning out of their coops and they like run into the snow and then they turn back
yeah.
around. I love that.
I love those videos.
But that's most ducks. So most waterfowl are like that. But they can get certain things like frostbite and other ailments from the cold, just like anything else can.
Right.
Best
So
to watch.
people just have to be extra careful with them. But so again, also we could do another live if people do have other questions and if they want to talk about other stuff with it too. And I know like obviously also you do take care of other animals other than ducks, but I know like we're really passionate about ducks, so that's what we talked about today. But we can touch base with other things too if anyone's interested, and you
For sure.
know
I'm down.
that would be really great. I think that'd be really fun. Let's see if you guys have any other last minute questions. But thank you so much, Brandon.
Of course. Thank you. And thank you everyone for tuning in as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. All the support helps, whether you're watching the live, interacting with us. Again, if you could give him a follow, make sure you like his posts and comment. Save his posts so that Instagram will help boost his posts so that other people can see his stuff. And it is so important that we do try to get more potential people to want to donate. So because of how many animals he takes in, which is crazy. And of course, again, a lot of the time it is out of his own pocket that he's feeding all these animals. So, um, and you've got another thank you at the bottom.
Thank you so much. I've been having a hard time keeping up with all those, but thank you everyone for
I
your kind
thank
words.
you guys so much. Yeah, for all the comments. We really appreciate it. And I will make sure to add more information about Brandon in my stories. And I will be putting highlights for you, Brandon, just so you know. And again, you can go to mine or his page. We do both have it in our bio, his GoFundMe page, so that he could raise money, so that he could get land to take in more animals. And I will also link your other donation pages.
For sure. Definitely. I
All
guess
right.
there's no more questions. I guess we'll call it a night.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. You guys were so awesome. And thank you for interacting with us and asking, and for all the really great questions. They were really awesome
Yeah,
questions.
those are some really good questions.
Yeah. So thank you so much. And stuff that I didn't even know that I learned today. So we all learned something new today.
If that's, and I'll sign off with this, to be in rehab and to do rescue work and any of this, you have to have an open mind. You have to be open to others' opinions, and you just kind of
Right.
gotta, that's it.
Yeah. And you're so strong. We love you, Brandon, and everything that you do and everything you achieved is just incredible. So thank you so much for being such an inspiration to so many people and helping so many, like saving so many lives. So thank you.
Of
I
course,
can't thank you enough, but
there's no need to thank me. It's just what I do.
I love you. You're my favorite. All right, so everyone, you guys have a great night. Thank you so much again. And Brandon, you take care. Thank you for
You
joining.
too. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.